What's going on, fight fans? It's your host Sebastian, and welcome back to the Boxing Tip. Now, yesterday I did my return video, let y'all know that I'm back doing the videos. Today will be my first official video since the return, and like I said in my last video, I chose a pretty interesting period of time to come back and start doing the videos because of the fight on Saturday, which is between my number one and my number two. I'm a huge fan of both guys, been watching them for a long time now, and crazy thing about this fight, I'll kind of explain that a little bit, the crazy thing, right? But like I said, I chose a interesting time to start doing the videos again because of how high a regard I hold these two fighters, man, and it's gonna be real interesting in me trying to figure this out. So that's, you know, like I said in my last video, I keep saying that. But I'm gonna try to figure this out. You know, I don't really know yet. I mean, it's only 6 days or 5 days away, and I'm still unsure. But as I post these videos throughout the week, I'm actually gonna be dedicating this entire week to this fight. I'm not gonna talk about any other fights. I'm gonna talk about just this fight. As the videos come out, that is me progressively starting to figure it out. Eventually, I'll come into a conclusion of who my pick is gonna be. I think I already know who my pick is going to be, but I'll save that for later. Now, this video is just going to be my initial thoughts. I'm not going to get into the breakdown or anything like that. This is just going to be what I think of, you know, both fighters, kind of, you know, explain a few things here and there. But first thing I want to do, you know, now that we're going to jump into it, getting all that other extra shit out the way, the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of eliminate some negative factors of the fight. From what I could tell off the top of my head, it's two things. So I'm gonna kill these two birds with, I guess, words. Anyways, so the first thing, Rigo jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Loma. You know, a lot of people are, I've been looking at a lot of comment sections, and a lot of people are bringing this up and who's gonna be making what excuses depending on how the fight's gonna turn out. You know, fuck all that bullshit. I ain't worried about that shit. What I want to say about that whole thing about the jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Lomachenko is, you know, he fought Amagasa, who came in at like 140 some odd pounds, some shit like that. He came in big, and he was way taller than Rigo, like double his size is what it seemed like. It was like a Chihuahua and a Greyhound standing next to each other or something, you know what I mean? But the reason why that doesn't bother me too much is because, you know, kind of looking at the Amagasa fight with Rigondeaux, he can obviously handle heavier opponents. He can do all right with them. And you know, he fought a good fight. He got dropped twice, whatever. I wouldn't say he was terribly hurt or anything, but, you know, he did get caught, got put on the canvas. But the reason why it doesn't bug me so much is because, you know, he handled Amagasa well, did some real damage, so obviously his power works for him against bigger guys. Now, will he carry that power up 2 weight classes with him? I have no idea. But when I think of weight, you know, neither guy really imposes themselves on the other opponent like that much, you know, like leaning up against them. Things where that weight factor can matter, you know, not so much about like the stamina or their conditioning or like carrying their power, their physical attributes, but they're not very physical fighters. These guys are craftsmen, you know what I mean? They find a way to win, and they strategically execute their game plan. Not too much is on a whim with fighters like Rigondeaux or Lomachenko, these very technical fighters at a very high skill level, where everything they do has some sort of purpose, some sort of meaning to set the guy up to land this punch, or even in, you know, defensive tactics, feinting and moving and using their feet and shifting their weights, you know what I mean, in the stance. That's more of a Rigondeaux thing. Lomachenko likes to use his feet, does a lot of stepping. But the point I'm trying to make with that is it doesn't bother me so much, you know. It's not something that I'm really paying attention to, you know. I don't want to think of it as some unfair advantage or anything like that, or what a lot of people, or some excuse that's going to be made after the fight, you know, whatever with that bullshit, man. I'm just excited about the fight. The other thing is the age difference. Rigondeaux, yes, is older. You know what I mean? But their careers and the way that stuff played out, maybe they could have met some years ago. Who knows? But obviously, things happened the way that they did. They're meeting now, and to me, really, that's just all that's important. My initial thoughts about the fight itself is, I've been thinking about this matchup since I think I watched Lomachenko fight Charlatan Apirapino. I know some other channels call him Tatakun or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but I always knew it from Apirapino or Charlatan or whatever. But I watched that fight, and that was when I really kind of understood like what Lomachenko was capable of doing. Even though I've watched him in the World Series of Boxing, I've caught some amateur fights of him, looking back. I've watched some of his professional fights. I think when he fought Apirapino, that was only his 4th fight, because he just won the title from Gary Russell Jr. in his 3rd fight. In the Gary Russell Jr. fight, don't get me wrong, it was something amazing. I was like, what the hell? I can't believe he did Gary Russell Jr. up like that. You know what I mean? He schooled him. Regardless of what the judges say, he put the works on Gary Russell. He took him to school. And anyways, but I remember, but seeing how he handled Charlatan Apirapino with just, like the, spinning or turning Apirapino in his place and walking him into punches and using all sorts of angles and, using his feet, his defense, everything. I got to see everything that he was capable of doing, even one-handed for a majority, or, for a good portion of the fight. I got to really understand what Lomachenko was capable of doing. And the funny thing is that I talk about Vasyl Lomachenko just about anybody who will listen to me talk about boxing. Even motherfuckers who don't watch boxing, I've been talking to them about this fight. You know what I mean? Lomachenko is just that fighter you just kind of want to brag about because of the things that he does in the ring are so spectacular, man. It's just eye-catching as a motherfucker, man. Like, I can't believe he just did that type of shit. So when he fought Apirapino, that, like I said, I got that good understanding of what he's really capable of, and I'm like, man, he's only one weight class above Rigondeaux, and I was already, watching Rigondeaux at the time. Rigondeaux was like my favorite fighter at the time, and I was watching video after video of Rigondeaux just because I was amazed of what he was capable of doing. Just his defense especially was just something out of this world. And his pinpoint accuracy and just stuff like that, man. The way he was able to slip punches and throwing his own punch at the same time, countering right in between, the other fighter's punches, just real slick shit, man. I was taken away by it. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even think a fighter was capable of pulling off some of the stuff that he was able to. Now, sure, with the Rigondeaux situation, and the entertainment value or whatever, how boring he is, that's not what I'm really focused on. I was entertained by Rigondeaux. I enjoyed watching his fights. There was that one fight with, I think, Dre and Francisco on the undercard of Cotto Canelo. That was the one time he really kind of let me down, though, because, I was talking to other people, like hyping him up, and then he put on that performance, and I was like, oh, well, shit. And then homies were over there talking to me like, your boy's born, and I'm like, well, maybe that's just my taste, maybe I'm just that huge of a fan of him, you know what I mean? But I could never fathom the matchup between him and Loma because, when you got two fighters that are just that skilled and who are completely dominant, I would say not completely, they've had their tough fights, like Lomachenko with Salido and Cordoba with Rigondeaux, they've had their tough fights where they struggled a bit, you know what I mean? But aside from that, when they're on their shit, you know what I mean? When no one's touching them, when they seem like they're invincible, and then you try to think about this type of matchup, and you're just like, I don't know. I really don't know how this fight would play out. Those are my, and I've been thinking, whenever, I don't know how long ago that was. I want to say 2014 when Algieri and Pacquiao fought, or maybe it was a little bit, I'm not sure exactly what year it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2014 though. I remember thinking about that fight that day. That's when Lomachenko became like pretty much my favorite fighter because I was just so taken away by what I seen that he was capable of doing, and it was conflicting with how much of a fan I was with Rigondeaux because I'm like, man, that's a possibility that these two can fight, you know what I mean? And it was just really, really hard to fathom, like super hard to fathom. And some years later, here we are. We're less than a week away, and now I'm stuck because I still haven't exactly figured it out. But I've gotten to see more from when I initially, tried to think about the fight up until now. And, now that I've gotten to see a little bit more, from both guys, especially Lomachenko with his last 4 performances, knocking out Martinez, and then the next 3 guys pretty much gave up. Just the way he's been doing these people, man. He's not just destroying these guys. He's taking everything away from them. Humiliating them and just beating them down to the point where they've had enough. They're mentally not there anymore. Physically, they're just starting to wear down, getting hit so much and just getting the moves put on them. You know what I mean? And then, Rigondeaux with, he's had since Donaire, and Egbeko and Amagasa and Drion Francisco, since fighting those guys, he's been kind of on that rough patch, you know what I mean? Especially with the whole Flores situation, But I haven't been able to, without him being televised and with everything else going on in the boxing world, I just kind of, my focus from Guillermo Rigondeaux just kind of faded a little bit, and I'll be honest, just, he has had a very difficult career, and it's a frustrating career because I'd love to see more of him against better people, and then there's the accusations of, people in and around his weight class abducting him and stuff like that. I'm not too sure. I'm not really focused. If the fucking fight ain't gonna be made, that's all I need to know. You know what I mean? But yeah. So Rigondeaux just kind of faded for me. You know what I mean? I'm still a huge fan because I still go back to this day and watch his fights with Donaire and watch his fights with Roberto Marroquin. His fight with Amagasa. I go back and watch those fights. Because these are fights where Rigondeaux just, he looked great. To me, he did at least. He looked great. And he put on some good performances, and his skill and the way that he was executing some of the things that he was doing, that's entertainment enough for me, man. You know what I mean? I don't need to see blood and guts war. You know what I mean? All I got to see is if, like, a fighter like Rigondeaux or a fighter like Lomachenko, I know what to expect. I expect to see great things happen. So when they start doing great things in the ring, that is entertainment enough for me. Now, getting back to, the matchup between Loma and Rigo, like I said, it's been a conflicting thought process because of how much I like both guys, and I'm not biased for either or, but it's just really hard to imagine either one of them losing, like I play that scenario in my head and I'm just like, God, like, how would they lose? What would the other guy do to make the other guy lose, and I'm starting to see that clear picture. And throughout the week, man, I'm gonna be dropping more videos of me trying to figure this whole thing out. And then obviously I'm gonna put out like a breakdown video just to kind of see, what both fighters can utilize against each other, what the strengths and the weaknesses that could be exploited by either guy. And mind you, if either guy has a weakness, these are the two best, probably two of the best fighters, maybe of right now, and fuck, who knows, maybe of all time. It's hard to tell, but maybe even of all time, to exploit weaknesses and completely shut down their opponent. These are two guys who are very well known for doing that, or are very capable of doing that. Now, doing it against each other, when these two have fucking two of the best defenses in the game today, and then, well, I would say, Lomachenko has that offensive edge, brilliant offense with built-in defense, and Rigondeaux is a sharpshooter, he's like a sniper. You slip up, he's going to take advantage of it. As Lomachenko, where if you slip up, he'll take advantage of it also, but if you're not slipping up, he's going to keep doing things till you slip up, or he is just going to create his own openings and offense. But one way or another, he's going to throw you off, and you're going to, and you'll pay for it. But, getting back to what I said, like I said, throughout the week, just going to put out videos, maybe depending on various topics, but I am dedicating this week to this fight solely. Obviously, once the fight happens, I will be doing a post-fight review or analysis or whatever you want to call it, talk about various things. But this fight is just so important to me that that's why I want to dedicate this entire week to it, because I don't think I can focus or even take interest in anything else that's gonna happen in boxing, or that it is happening in boxing. I'm at the point where I'm starting to just not care what's going on in the rest of the boxing world, and I only care about this fight. I'm beyond excited about it. I get goosebumps thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's like a roller coaster. I think I've said this in the past, but it's like a roller coaster. Like you're about to hit that first drop. You know what I mean? You're all nerves. But stay tuned, guys. I'm not going to say I'm going to have the best one, but I do know both of these fighters very well because I have taken a lot of time to study both of these fighters. I study these fighters for fun, not even to do these videos. I just do that shit on my spare time because I'm infatuated by the way both of these guys box, man. And like I said, it's hard. It's really hard to think about either guy losing because I don't really want either guy to lose. It's just that. It's just that. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this matchup, man. But like I said, stay tuned. Follow me throughout the week. I'm going to give you guys some good shit when it comes to this fight. Share my thoughts about both fighters especially. Give y'all that breakdown, and then eventually, maybe in the breakdown video, maybe I'll make it a separate video of who I'm going to pick to win and why I'm going to pick. And like I said, right now I got a pretty good idea, but I'm going to just do these videos and let the answer come naturally to me, working it all out, doing the math, you know what I mean. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. I should be having the next video up tomorrow. Not exactly sure what not exactly sure what I'm gonna focus on specifically. Hell, it could just be a rant. You know what I mean? Just kind of like this one was. But these are just my initial thoughts about the fight, man, and what led up to me, how I just kind of thought about it leading up to it, starting from some years ago. You know what I mean? I've always thought about this matchup. It's just so surreal that it's actually happened, that it's actually gonna happen. But like I said, that's all I got for you guys on this one. Make sure you introduce someone to boxing, man. This is a fucking brilliant fight. Maybe not the kind of fight you would want to show for someone's first fight. I don't know, depends. But either way, two of the best doing it, probably two of the best to ever do it, going up against each other. Two-time Olympic gold medalist, first time in boxing history that's ever gonna happen, man. This fight just got so much to it. Also, subscribe to the channel. One thing I want to do, shout out, I know you guys probably noticed, you see there's a different picture popping up, before my usual shit pops up. That's just Battleborn Beast Apparel, man. It's one of, apparel brand that my homie's starting, real into fitness and shit. Fucking awesome shirts. I think they look dope. Check them out on Facebook, Battleborn Beast Apparel. Also, if you like the video, give me the thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me the thumbs down. It's whatever. I love the feedback regardless. Also, hit that comment section. Let me know what your initial thoughts on the fight. Hell, let me know anything, any thought that you got on the fight. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. I'll talk to you on the next one. Peace.